Hello, what's up guys? I'm Kyle from KGR, and today we're going to be doing a review on the Figma Katsuki Bakugo from My Hero Academia. Now, I love My Hero Academia a lot, and I plan on getting every Figma in the line, so if you want to see those reviews, I'll subscribe now if you want. So with that said, I'm going to let you know if a figure is worth picking up or not. I'm going to tell you if it sucks. With Bakugo, there are quite a few options that you can get. You can get the Figma, the McFarlane, I think there's an Anime Heroes line that looks okay. I don't have the other figures, I only have the Figma, so I can't tell you which one's going to be better, but I can tell you if it's good or not. Out of all the figures I mentioned, this one is the most expensive as of right now, and it is the newest My Hero Academia figure in the line technically, but again, I plan on getting the rest of them. So how good is this figure? Is he worth the money? Let's open him up and find out. And here is the psychotic hero himself, Bakugo. Now, I was excited for this figure when it was coming out, so how does it live up? Does it live up to the hype? Now, I never seen any other figure reviews for this, so this review is all my own opinion. I don't know what other people think of this and what other problems other people had, but I'm gonna be straight up. This is probably gonna be the weakest figure in this set, if not one of the weakest. It lacks so many good accessories that it could come with, and it's honestly brittle as well. Before I go over like how brittle a thing is, let me go over a few things that kind of bother me. I noticed that this spike over here is kind of smaller compared to this one. That might be a design with the show. I don't know. So for all I know, this is accurate, and I'm just uneducated, misinformed. Fine, whatever. Under the arms, we have all this extra skin over here. Like, I think it just looks kind of awkward. Like, from the back, he looks fine, but I don't know, from the front, I don't know, I just think like it's just too much extra skin. I think it just looks really weird and unnecessary. And also there's a giant noticeable gap like from behind that you can see, I think, because of the extra skin. And let's get to the gauntlets. The gauntlets are the most annoying thing about this figure for me. A couple of things. Number one, I think this should have been painted a little bit differently. So I think it would have been a nice attention to detail if in between the crevices of like their grenades, I think it would be nice if it was painted black so it can match the show a little bit better. But that's me. If they don't want to do that, fine. I don't know any piece of merch that I can think of off the top of my head that do that either. So I'll just let them get away with it. Fine, whatever. I think it would have been nice if these little, I don't even know what these are. I don't know what they're called. I know, I don't keep track of like war stuff. I know, I'm terrible. Anyway, I think these would have been nice to be painted silver instead of just gray, but fine, we'll let that go too. But let me tell you what really bothers me besides paint. These things are fragile. It makes it so much of a pain to handle this figure. So I want to handle this figure, I gotta go like under his arms in order for me to like make sure I don't break anything, because I've actually broken off the side of this. Like, you can probably see a little bit of a crack in there. Yeah, that is me snapping this figure, because I'd be handling it, trying to take off hands or something, and whoops, I accidentally snapped this piece off. Whoops! I don't know how many other people have done that themselves. I hope it's a common issue, because I don't want to seem like the only idiot doing that. But also, trying to articulate this thing is such a pain. So normally you would just try to twist it, and you'd be fine with that. But there is a notch in there that's supposed to be there for the joint. So if you want to articulate this thing properly, you gotta move the elbow in and then rotate from there if you want to properly rotate this thing. And one side, like turning it one way, it works just fine, but turning it the other way, it seems to be kind of stiff. Now that's going to vary from figure to figure. Not all of them are going to be like that, but I think it will be slightly nerve-wracking to pose this figure, especially if it's like kind of jerky and you give it too much pressure, then you twist it too much and you end up snapping the thing off. And I'm also afraid of possibly like dropping this figure off my shelf and like having these effects snap off. And I really, really wish you could actually just replace the whole forearm and put on his regular, like, I think it's like metal arms or whatever. Like, there's Under Armour that he wears under these gauntlets that you see in the show whenever he uses these things, or when he takes them off, I should say. The Nendoroid has that as an option, and even has faces and a different head sculpt, so he doesn't have all this stuff on him. I think it would be really nice to have a Bakugo figure like with all that off. I think it would have been nice to actually just include it with this figure, but fine, whatever. We see plenty of times where Bakugo doesn't have this mask or whatever on with his outfit, so I think it would have been nice to have an extra head sculpt with that off and extra faces with his mask off, but whatever. Like the hands that he comes with and the explosions he comes with, they're fine. But I think they should have gave him more to work with. Like, they should have gave him the extra arms, like with the Nendoroid. They should have gave him extra faces, extra head, all that stuff. Because when it comes to accessories, we get his normal face, okay, where he's just looking stern, whatever. So we get that face, and we also get this screaming face, which obviously is very necessary. But those are the only faces. At least Midoriya came with like 3 in total, which even then I kind of wish he could have had more, like him screaming or something like that. But I just wish there was a head without all of his gear on, and I wish there was a different forearm setup so he didn't have the gauntlets always on him. We get also 2 explosion effects, which I think these are also painted very well. Like when they're in Bakugo's hands, which I'll show you, it looks nice. It looks right. And then when it comes to the hands, we got these fists, a pair of open hands, a pair of hands with pegs on them so you can actually use the blast effects for Bakugo, and for some odd reason a set of hands with gripping holes again in case you want to have Bakugo have a master sword or something and try to slash up Deku. I also kind of noticed on my figure that it's a little bit nerve-wracking to put on the hands. Now, like I said, you don't want to hold it like this or else you're going to snap these pieces off. So you're going to want to hold his arms out and then slowly twist and turn. It's a little bit tight. But yeah, you pull those off, pull that off. Yeah, like this is awfully tight. Like I'm gonna have a hard time getting this off, and I'm afraid that if I pull too hard, I'm gonna like jerk back too much and end up snapping a piece off again. But I'm sure this is just a figure-to-figure basis. Not all of them are gonna be like this, but because it's happening to me, there's a chance that it could happen to you. All right, let's put on the hands that have the blast effect on because they are gonna be fun. But before I show off the accessories and stuff, I probably should go over the articulation because I haven't done that yet. Now, even though I am like bashing on this figure a good bit, I will give them this. This little neck piece does not hinder articulation whatsoever. You go forward and back as much as you want, and go side to side as much as you want. You can do whatever you want with this head. It's just going back a little bit tough only because of the hair and how it hits the neck. That's it. This piece has nothing to do with it, and you'd think that would be an issue. But no, it's actually surprisingly good. And then we got the double ball peg around the shoulders as well, so you can take them wherever you want. The standard Figma joint, but you're getting only about like 90 degrees because of his gauntlet. But then the gauntlet itself also has a swivel on there as well, so that's how you articulate that. And then we got a ball hinge on the wrist, so you can take that forward and back as much as you want. And surprisingly, again, like I said, like there's not a lot of like hindered articulation. Like, of course, you can't really rock it side to side because of this, but if you do need to pose it to the side, you just use the joint in the gauntlet itself and take it wherever you need to. Then let's focus on his ab crunch, and like he can go forward pretty well. Going back, not so much because it goes back so much over here, so leaning back's not going to be much of a luxury, sadly, but if you try, you get a giant gap in the torso, which just looks unfortunate. But it's not going to let you do it so much, so you're not going to notice it that bad. But at least he can launch himself forward, I guess. And then the legs work pretty well. I had an issue with Midoriya Figma where like it would scrape, and thankfully I haven't noticed that here. And then the knees are standard Figma joints, so you can take them back that far. Let's have this leg go forward. Oh, it popped off. Oops. That doesn't pop off easily, I swear. I just overextended it and gave it a little bit too much pressure. Anyway, so yeah, we're going to have this leg go forward that much, and we're going to have this leg go out about that much. So, like, in his hips, when it comes to his legs, he does got a pretty good amount of range, no lie. And the knees give him good range, too. And his ankles have full-size Figma joints from what it looks like, because, man, look at how big that joint is. Not that it's ugly, it's just big. So you can move that as much as you want, so you got complete freedom there. And then of course it rocks, so you can do what you want with that. Notice that's going more to this side than the other. So like I on that one too. Oh, it's barely rocking on this one. And of course, toe bend, because not all heroes wear capes, but all heroes must have toe bends. So I think when it comes to like poseability range, I think he does relatively fine. Like, look at that pose. Yeah! He's in the air, ready to blast people and say he's gonna kill them even though he wants to be a hero. What kind of sense does that make? I don't know. Oh yeah, and swapping out faces. That's a thing you can do too. You just take off the hair. He's not balding, I promise. Then you just take off this face, and then you just swap it out with the other one. Where did I put the other one? Well, I found it. Okay. Okay, so we slide this in. Hole and a peg, you know, just matching that, and it fits fine. It's a little bit tight, though, at least on mine. Ooh, tight fit. There we go. Rawr, look at that. I'd be that angry, too, if my head looked like that. Missing all that hair. There we go. But he's still angry, though, because he didn't get his cookie. Yeah, yo, this is the face I get when I'm at work, when they won't let me go on my lunch break because we have no coverage. Yeah, I get angry. I love food. But man, on my stage, I am transferring so much orange paint. I need to actually get myself a new poster board. And then pegging on these explosion effects, I mean, they're easy. I think one is only fit for one hand. So you could try to fit one and one, and you're like, oh, that doesn't fit very well. You could tell there's like a little bit of an indent, so you can kind of guess where it goes. It's indent, and then it's like mostly flat back here. That probably means it goes on this hand. Yeah, look at that. Nice firm grip. Look at him firmly grasp it in his hand. And he referenced more SpongeBob, he's gonna kill you. And then let's put it on his other hand. Okay, we can do this. Is there a gap? Oh yeah, there's a little bit of gap down here. There's a little bit of wall down there. Yeah, it probably means it fits in here, right? Yeah, we got it. Yeah, I feel like Dora the Explorer. I just figured out something that is very easy without looking at a map or instructions like a man. Oh yeah, and of course, if you get a Figma, you get, you know, the Figma stand and the Figma bag. I want to find more of these bags, by the way. I want to buy them loose. For some reason, this base feels a little bit loose. It's not, like, it's tight, but it's like not tight as usual. But I'm trying to plug him in. Apparently an issue. I have a little bit of a struggle right here. But I'm trying. He's not giving. He's too stubborn. It's because of that face. Okay, there we go. Just takes a little bit of elbow grease. And then there you go. But yeah, this base in particular seems to be awfully loose. Not all of them are going to be like that. It's just, for some reason, mine is. I can tighten it real quick and get him in some nice action poses. Give me a sec. There we go. Look at that legend. So overall, what are my thoughts on this figure? Honestly, I think this figure is pretty disappointing. I mean, it poses just fine, and the paint apps and all that stuff. Like, the figure is fine. It's just, it's so lacking. Like, it could have had, like, an alternative head with no mask, and had the gauntlets come off to have normal arms. But I get why they did what they did, because of the whole Takara Tomy and having to slice of the pie and all that stuff. You didn't want to make the figure overpriced too much, but just like Midoriya, in my opinion, the value to the dollar is not there. I personally think the Nendoroid is a much better figure, and it's a little bit cheaper too. So if you really want a good Bakugo figure, if you don't mind chibi, go for the Nendoroid. The Nendoroid's a really good figure. Like, this is a good action figure, and it still definitely looks better than the McFarlane figure. Like, it's definitely by far like the best looking Bakugo figure so far. But if Amazing Yamaguchi from Revoltech makes a Bakugo figure, it's definitely gonna dethrone this one. And it's going to make this one almost useless to pick up now. But as of right now, this is the best figure by default. And I'd say only pick it up just because it's the best one so far. And we don't know if Amazing Yamaguchi is going to make it Bakugo, but if they do, I can guarantee you it's going to be much better than this. And that's it for this review. So if you're new and you like what you saw, you know what to do. And if you like the pictures that you see right now, I do a lot more pictures like this on my Instagram, which will be in the description, as well as my Snapchat and my Twitter. And let me know in the comments, do you plan on picking this up? And if you already do have this, let me know what you think of the figure, because I would love to hear more opinions about this. And if you want to pick this up, I will have links in the description to places that I've gone to personally and had some good experience with. And let me know in the comments which figure you're most excited for from My Hero Academia, or what figure you would like to see the most that hasn't been announced yet. Personally, I would absolutely love to see either a Figma Tenya or All Might. Mainly Tenya, because we need more heroes. Like, we need more students. And thank you guys so much for watching. I love you guys to death, and I'll see y'all whenever Uraraka comes out. So peace, peace.